Welcome to Grumpy Old Reds, and we got a lot to talk about as it finished Tony FC 3, Nottingham Forest 2. Evening and all, hope you're doing well. I don't know where the temperatures are with everyone. We've already been arguing backstage. I had to mute them all and just say, save it for the live, because there's all kinds of arguments going off already. It wouldn't be a Grumpy Old Reds without an argument. Hope you've had a good weekend despite the Undertaker's return yesterday. And yeah, we're going to get into it. Don't forget, start by hitting that like button. Let's get that out of the way. And subscribe if you are new. I'm just jumping, boys. Let's just jump straight into it. My temperature is still near enough boiling point right now, and let's just start with the whole thing. By the way, let's not swear for the first few minutes. I'm sick of being limited on another revenue, man. So 2 minutes and then swear away. So let's start with the free kick, right? And let's talk about shout out to Forest all over. I'm going to nick this off them. Let's play the blame game. Shout out to Forest all over. Make sure you listen to their podcast. It's cracking. Okay. Ez, blame game. Kick us off.
I'll go with specific goals. Yeah, let's go with the game. Let's go for free kick. Yeah. Blame game on the free kick. I think there's a lot of people to blame in it, but lining up the wall, and he has to take the ultimate blame on that. If it's not even had to break through the wall or go over the wall, he's not even really gone round the wall. He's kind of just gone along the side of the wall. So goalkeeper for lining it up, but there's players in that wall or on this edge of the wall. But what the hell were they doing? What was Yatesy doing by jumping inwards? If he's already identified that there's a possibility that the ball's going to be curled around the edge of the wall, like it was last season, if that was what he was trying to point out to Turner, then the worst thing you can do is make yourself smaller, which is what he seemed to do. So that is bizarre. What Callum Hudson-Odoi was doing on the edge of that wall with no player to mark, not blocking the shot, not really doing anything, I don't understand. It was just... And it wasn't even a proper swipe of a ball. If you're going to try and swing your leg at it, try and make some contact. So it was, for me, I can go through pretty much 4 or 5 players, but I'll say they're the main 3. I'll say definitely Turner as a goalkeeper, Yatesy, and I would say Callum Hudson-Odoi, the 2 on the edge of the wall.
All right. Is my mic okay now, chat? I just jumped out and in. Yeah. All right. So I got the back end of what Ez said there. And what are you saying?
Yeah, I think Ez may have missed with his long list. He may have missed one out. Actually, I would say Mangala shouldn't have. Yeah, Mangala shouldn't have given. There was no need for him. He had covering players. There was no need for him to give the especially in that position. So that Mangala partly to blame. Now the wall. See, this is my theory, and I could be 100% wrong. I accept that because I accept that Turner's not the best. But he set that wall up where the ball was. Then the ball was moved a yard to the right, which totally changes the angle. And I think because he was standing behind the wall, he didn't realise the ball had been moved. And then Yates is turning around and saying, do I need to move over? Do I need to? Because he could see that the ball had been moved. Now, what Yates should have done, he said, ref, it's moved the foam and the ball there. It's quite critical. The goal shouldn't have been allowed. It should not have been allowed. There's no doubt about that. Because that made all the difference in the world. Tony saying that you're allowed to move the ball a yard either side is not true. You're not allowed to move the ball a yard. And you're certainly not allowed to move the foam. So my theory, and I could be wrong here, my theory is that Yatesy was going, I need to move. Look, and Turner, because he was behind the wall, didn't realise the ball had been moved. He was saying, no, it's all right. You're all right where you are. And I think that that combination made the goal what it was. But Ezra's right about Yatesy moving in. He's also right about Callum Hudson-Odoi taking up an absolutely pointless position when he could have been stood on the end of the wall for a bit of extra insurance. What's the issue? Have him standing there. If you don't need him, great. So that's where I know I've sort of moved around a bit, but that's where I feel about the.
Let me just quickly say. So I think I've watched it back, and you guys can correct me. The sequence of events was Yatesy's turning around and speaking to Turner about fixing it. Right as he's doing that, that's when Toney picks up the phone and moves it. So as Turner's then going back across, he doesn't see that happening. But somebody's got to keep an eye on that. Surely one of the players has got to notice that. We've got to notice that.
Maybe Yates is captain. Maybe he should have grabbed hold of Hudson-Odoi and pulled him over next to him.
Yeah. But just on that point, Ant, if you're saying if we're believing your theory and your sequence of events,
It's only a theory.
All right, let's just roll with it. Yeah. Why the hell didn't Yatesy just move the wall himself?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. He was asking Turner, which I understand, because at the end of the day, for free kicks, the goalkeeper is in charge, isn't he? He's the one that says, I want 2, I want 4, move there, move there. So maybe Yatesy felt he had to ask, the goalkeeper, are you sure this is all right? Because it was so obvious, wasn't it? He was saying very clearly, he could come round. And that, I don't know. Crazy. Like I say, why didn't you grab Hudson-Odoi and bring him in?
And just before we go into the crypto on it, Chris wants to know, I've seen stats saying Toney has scored 1 goal this season. And do free kicks count?
Not free kicks like that, no, because it's cheating.
Well, it shouldn't have counted, that's for sure.
Go on, Ben, where's your blame game lying at?
I think for me, I've got several people to blame. First of all, would be Mangala. He's the one who gave the free kick away, right? So why is he giving a free kick away on the edge of the box? Secondly, Turner. I mean, one of the main things when you're a goalkeeper, one of the things you learn as you're growing up is to position your wall. It's goalkeeping 101, goalkeeping basics. You position your wall. If he's going to stand that far to the left-hand side of the goal, then you best make sure that your defence are covering the other side. So 100% Callum Hudson-Odoi needed to be in that wall as well. Why he's not, I can't quite understand it. He's literally just leaving like an open gap for no reason whatsoever. Maybe his thought was he's there to stop Toney running forward if that's what he was going to do, if he was to miss it. But the wall was not positioned properly. Yates, I don't really want to blame Yates because Yates was almost arguing with Turner saying this is not right, let's do something about it. But I think Turner kind of overrides him in that situation. Although he did then jump inwards, which was a bit strange. It's almost like he jumped
really
out
strange.
the ball.
It was really strange.
And another person, which I haven't seen anybody blame yet, and maybe is slightly controversial, would be Amabamidele. Because Amabamidele is looking at Toney all the time, and he sees him move the ball, and then he sees him pull the phone up, and then he sees him move the ball again. Why is he not going mad at the ref saying, look, what's happening? If you watch the video back, Amabamidele is staring dead straight at Toney, but he says nothing to anybody about him moving the ball.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand how nobody saw it. But you're saying he's got his eyes right on it.
If you watch the video back, Amabamidele is staring at Toney, and he doesn't say anything. If that was Yates staring at Toney, you can guarantee he would have been kicking off. But for me, yeah, I mean, the main blame, apart from Toney cheating by moving the foam, I'll be honest, I don't mind him moving the ball as such because I think a lot of players do that, but moving the foam is taking a step too far.
That is cheating.
Not once that foam's down. They don't. Once that foam's that like little crescent's been put down, you never see him move the ball from that. Never.
Not that much. Spinning the ball, don't you?
Yeah, He's moved it a good yard or so.
There's a difference between a free kick miles out that they don't bother with the foam. Yes, you see him move them all the time, but when it's in a position like that and he puts that crescent there,
and it's a direct
he moves the crescent. It's not acceptable. But at the end of the day, somebody should have either told the ref or it should have been checked on VAR. But first and foremost, your goalkeeper's got to put your wall in a position where if something does go wrong, the wall's protecting it.
But how?
I don't understand why Callum Hudson-Odoi was stood 2 yards outside the wall.
Can you guys remember back to the goal last season, the free kick goal last season, and who were we blaming then? it was Chiarte, wasn't it? He did this weird jump out of the way, and then we blamed Navas for not getting to the ball. Pretty much saying we're not learning from our lessons, and it's something that I've noticed over the last couple of games that I don't know if it must be a mentality thing because we've got different managers with different tactics.
I don't think the defense believe in Turner. I don't think they have any confidence in Turner. I think the confidence in the goalkeeping situation is shot, and something needs to change dramatically.
That's got nothing to do with that free kick, though. Whether you got not staying in the wall where you're supposed to be.
Yates, as the captain, should be able to either trust his keeper or override him. He shouldn't be. If your keeper is telling you what to do and he can't even do something basic like positioning a wall, then it's just the relationship on the pitch between the defense and the keeper is not great for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the keeper, again, maybe more so Vlachodimos, the keeper should be going mad at their defense, telling them where they are, not just on dead balls, but in open play. The keeper should be almost leading from the back, setting up his defense.
They're not that kind of keeper, are they, Ben?
No, they're not. But at Premier League level, this is what we need. If we want to progress throughout the league, we need a keeper who can take charge, and tell people how to sort themselves out. I agree, Simon. You shouldn't override your keeper, but then the keeper needs to position the wall correctly.
Yeah, because once you've set it up, then you go back, and then you go back again, don't you? You don't just settle on the first time I've lined it up, it's done. You go back. Every single goalkeeper I've seen lining up, or every single decent goalkeeper I've seen lining up a wall.
I don't think you could see it, Ed.
You see how many times people go back? Yeah, but then when you go back to he's movable at this stage, he's lined up a wall, he's movable. If you look at the long view of it, you could clearly see a gap. There was literally one gap for him to go for, and it was clear as day. And how nobody else picked it up. If Turner had done another run along the wall and checked that, he would have noticed it. So there's a severe lack of confidence in themselves. And it adds on to what Crypto's saying, because if they're not confident in themselves, then I don't think either of the goalkeepers are. I think you can definitely see it in Turner when he's got the ball at his feet, severely panicked, and even their fans know. Their fans were like, every time the ball went back to them, they were
allaying.
Yeah, that's not going to help. But opposition fans doing it every single game you go to, they're going to do it. Whether they come to the City ground or you're at an away ground, they're going to do that. So the longer he keeps being put in that position, I think it's going to have an effect. And we're seeing that he just can't respond positively to it. So we've had another game where I think we all agree that at some point it's Turner's fault for that goal. So that's another goal that we've conceded where the goalkeeper's at fault and Turner's at fault again. So we can't keep going on like this.
And just going back to this confidence thing, I'm sorry, but it looked panicky when Yates was turning around, basically saying to Turner, "What the F is going on?" Yeah, it just looked like complete. No one was in control of the situation, and I feel that comes from. I feel like Yates was turning around saying, "Where do you want me? Shall I move now? Are you sure you've lined it up?" Yates was doing that, wasn't he? He's gonna bend it round. He's gonna bend it round. Yeah, and just to answer the point, a couple of you are saying, why didn't Callum Hudson-Odoi go on the goal line? Two things on that. Firstly, yeah, it does work because we were 2-2 in my under-13s today. We got a free kick in the last minute, same spot, just on the other side, and my free kick expert took it, beat the keeper, and they had a man on the line. Now, and he headed it away. It's so annoying. If we put a man on the line in Premier League level, what happens is you're playing everyone on side. All that will happen is the Brentford team would go and stand on. You'd all stand around Turner. Yeah, you'd make a wall in front of Matt Turner. So it can't work doing that. But I get the sentiment on that.
You've seen sometimes, haven't you, where players ran back and then ran back and then ran back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see the forward line all running up and all running back.
Yeah, and I think what Ollie's saying here, the lack of leadership is a bit missing. Wood as captain, I won't go that far.
Ollie.
No, I think he might be saying because Wood was made captain right at the very end. Wood
was that who was captain?
That's who Yates gave it to.
I gave it. Yeah. Okay. Just very quick. Excuse me. Just quickly. Thank Chris doing the right thing because the messages are flying in. thick and fast, and super chats nicely pop up and we can see them clearly. Thank you so much for the £2. What was correct until the cheat took over? Now, just to clarify another point, thank you again, Chris, for the £2. The other thing is VAR can't get involved in that. VAR can't. It's stupid. It's a stupid draw. I always feel that that's like either get him involved in everything when it comes to a goal, surely, to check everything, or what's the point in VAR? Because the rest.
I don't understand that. I don't understand that, Wolfie, because I've seen a goal scored before, and then they've gone back about 20 seconds to a foul that took place up the pitch. So how can they not get involved with that?
Well, it's not
specifically if they cheated by moving the ball. Is there a law that says if they cheated by moving the ball, you're not allowed to say anything?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they don't get involved in repositioning the ball in the same way that they don't get involved with. Was it Bolly's second yellow when he did absolutely nothing wrong?
Yeah.
Basically, anything that goes for our opposition, they don't get involved. It's corrupt, man. It's corrupt. Andy, thank you so much for the 5 months, buddy. Appreciate it. Okay, so look, I've got to talk about this, and I just want to stick to this point. Then we're going to get onto a lot of positives because there's a lot of positives to talk about. Sky Sports and Ivan Toney. I swear to God, if that game was on after 9 o'clock, I would have expected Carragher on the pitch at full time on his knees in front of Toney. Yeah, pants down and everything. Because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, we get it.
I can't believe he turned around and said he was basically giving him man of the match before the match had even started.
Before the game, yeah.
It's
embarrassing.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I don't know if you guys saw the match of the day post-match on the Forest match. No mention of Danilo's goal. No analysis on Wood's goal. Nothing. And when Alex got, to be fair to her, asked a straight question to, what is that guy called? Williams, isn't he? That Welsh guy.
It's Ashley Williams.
That's anyway. It. Yeah. And he's like, he didn't have the balls to answer the question. She asked him, was it cheating or not? You lot make your mind up. Shut up, man. I'm getting sick of this Toney agenda that Sky have got. They clearly just want to try and push a transfer because nothing's happening. But it's taking
I think it's more than that. It's deeper than that, bro. I'm sick of this whole bullshit.
I can tell you exactly why it is. It's because Sky Sports Studio is basically based in Brentford, and a lot of the senior management there are Brentford supporters, and I can tell you that because I used to work there. Yeah, I used to drive past that stadium every day. It's about 5 minutes away from Sky Sports.
Yeah, go on, Ez. I want to hear this rant. What's your theory?
It's absolutely pathetic. Like he's some sort of martyr. He's been getting fully paid for cheating, for breaking the rules. Call it what you like. Cheating, breaking. He's broke the rules. He's had to sit out for 8 months. It's as if he's been in prison and he's been put on some sort of food famine or something like that. Like he's come out of a darkness and fuck off, mate. You're a highly paid footballer. You're very privileged. You can do whatever you want. You've been able to do whatever you wanted for the last 8 months. Yeah, you spent so many weeks doing pre-season training or whatever you want to call it. But they're making it out like he's come back from the dead, like it's the greatest comeback. He's been in the wilderness and he's had to suffer. There's people suffering in the world right now as we speak. There's proper people suffering in the world, and they don't get any airtime like this prick's got. So I'm really pissed off with that agenda. It's also Sky Sports' equalities where I'm sick of kneeling down for this bullshit. The all Black Lives Matter, all this. That's what it's all. It's all about that as well. So we're gonna promote a black guy now because that's part of our agenda now, and that's what it is. It's ticking boxes. It's passing agendas, and it's absolutely pathetic that they're giving this guy so much airtime for what? For breaking the being caught for breaking the rules. He didn't even apologize, as far as I'm aware. Toffolo came out and owned what he did. You know, apologized for what he did. He's actually out in the community helping people who are going through similar problems face to face. He's doing that. Never seen any of that about Toney. You know, he's just literally he's martyred because he got caught doing something he shouldn't have done. He got caught doing something he shouldn't have done, and he's had to pay the price. And it's making it out like he's just come out of a wilderness, and the whole world's against him. And now he's coming back as a savior and a hero. That's why yesterday really pissed me off. It wasn't so much a fact that we lost a game. It's if we'd lost the game and he wasn't involved in it, I wouldn't have minded as much as I minded yesterday. And obviously for other pricks scoring as well, scoring the winner, that really annoyed me. But yeah, I'm sick of this agenda.
That's because Ant jinxed it. And said would never score.
Was it Ant or was it Mr.
I'm pretty sure it was.
We made it into the Sun newspaper. What was that message? And I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I've just brought that up because.
Andy, send us the clip. I mean, we're gone really high class if we've made it to the Sun.
No such thing as bad publicity, mate. Even if the slagging is off.
Ez, I've got a question for you, though. I've got a question for you. If it was the opposite and that was Morgan Gibbs-White moving the ball yard right and scoring it top corner, what would you say there?
Well, I have a look at the background and whether he's been caught cheating and had to face a ban and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's no context. The context is what I'm annoyed about is that he's been given this limelight and this profile for what? For cheating. And do you know what? That's the other thing. That's the other part of the agenda. What's Sky's biggest thing? Sky Bet. So they're gamblers. They're just pushing their own agenda anyway. So fuck them all, mate. Seriously.
I don't care
if Wolverine never gets invited on to Soccer Saturday or whatever it is, mate. I'd rather stick with TNT, to be honest, mate. They're a bit more honest than these.
I can tell you what they said about Tony, but they'll never invite me again when we went down there. So yeah, I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together when we were down at Sky. So, and I just want to ask you this question, right? It's like, this is the final thing we're going to say about the cheating scum, and then we're going to move on and talk about proper Forest stuff. Okay?
Yeah, because there were plenty of positives.
Oh, there's plenty. Now, as put yourself in the shoes of a Brentford fan. I know it's hard because there's only like 5 pairs of shoes available anywhere across the country of them. Yeah, but if you've had this player who's been done for betting, comes back, has said F Brentford, had to apologize for it. Before he plays his first game back, he's basically said, Big Six, come and get me. Yeah. Should you not be feeling about him like, really, mate, after what we've done for you? And they're literally there on their knees as well to him.
Well, first of all, I don't think Brentford have done any. All this talk I hear about he owes Brentford nothing. Brentford paid his wages because they knew he was worth 80 million quid, or not worth, but you know what I'm saying. He could get them 80 million quid. If that had been a youth team player, they'd have fucked him off. If that had been a 35-year-old at the end of the contract, they'd have fucked him off. The fact that they supported him was financial, right? They probably can't stand the guy, but because he's worth a lot of money, there, of course. So let's put that to one side about he owes them something. If I was a Brentford fan, if I'm honest with you, I would think I don't care as long as he keeps us up. I'm not saying I'd like the guy. I'm not saying I'd worship the guy because I wouldn't. But I think we stand more of a chance of staying up with him in the team than out the team. So keep him for the rest of this year. Then he can fuck off and bring us a load of money. That's how I personally would feel about him.
Fair enough. I just think it's like someone just said in the comments, Van Hooijdonk, that got very splitty with the Brentford fans. It's like he's their only player. He's bigger than Brentford. Let's be honest about it. Okay, let's move away from the dickhead and let's start talking about the Forest stuff. But before I do, again, like I gotta say, just Simon's brought this up. Apparently, all the stewards were deciding to man up against all the Forest ladies and other fans as well. I've seen Ellie's been tweeting about it. And it's goddamn pathetic. Again, it's just another instance of what a crap club they are. And the sooner they are relegated, the absolute better. What?
I'm fed up with them. But Brentford and Bournemouth, why do they beat us every time they play us? Fucking honestly, mate.
They're just dirty, man. I told you, they're just scum. They're just scum. So yeah, so
anyone it's a little stadium complex. Sorry, it's a little stadium opposite to your theory.
BTEC, yeah. Just if anyone was at the game and saw any trouble or had any trouble with the stewards, if you go on to Ellie's post, she's collating it all together. So yeah, make sure you do that. Okay, let's move forward and talk about some of the key performances. I want to start with Danilo, Crypto. What were your thoughts on Danilo yesterday? Because he has been pretty poor all season. But yesterday started to unhatch back into himself, do you think?
Yeah, I think yesterday he really stepped up. Obviously, the goal was brilliant. The control as well, not just the shot, but bringing it from his left thigh to his right foot and putting it in the top right corner. It was a brilliant finish. So I think yesterday he looked pretty good. He has been out of form the last few games, but maybe the more time he gets on the pitch, maybe he'll recover that. He went a bit quiet in the middle of the match, but I didn't really have any specific problems. I didn't really have any problems with that many of the players, to be honest. I thought everyone was pretty good. At the end of the day, we lost. Maybe we'll talk about some of the other players later. But for me, Danilo, yeah, I think if he plays like that, he's a potential starter in the team again. We'll have to see how it all changes round when the AFCON lads come back, and obviously people like Elanga and MGW.
Yeah, and you got your Palmeiras top one. Is that in tribute today? What's going on with that, or you just not had time to watch it?
Yeah. Because I got pilloried in the last show by saying I thought he was a class player. And it's nice to see that my pep talk actually got to him. You know, I appreciate the fact that he took that on board.
Yeah, he watched it on the coach down.
It's not fully back yet. Of course, it's not. It's not fully back yet. But there was definitely improvement yesterday. And if we can continue to see that, we know what kind of player he can be. And if we can get him back to his best, and with the other guys coming back from both injury and the AFCON, things look bright for us going forward. What we have done is we've jumped straight, because of the Toney thing, we've jumped straight in and not given our overall thoughts of the game. So if you don't mind, I'd quickly like to do that. And I would just say that obviously bitterly disappointed. It was such an important game. It really could be pivotal, this game. I mean, it's a bad one to lose, and we shouldn't have lost it. I thought we were the better side. Genuinely, I thought Brentford were very poor. I thought we played much better football than them. We were much better in possession than they were. We were much more threatening than they were. But there was a lack of creativity at the front. We'd play some good triangles, some good passing football, get to the final third or to the 18-yard box, and that final bit of creativity, which hopefully will come from the likes of MGW when he's back, and maybe even Sangari when he gets forward. But that's what was missing for me. But once again, the big disappointment is we scored 2 goals and lost. That's 5 times this season we've lost 3-2. 5 times. Now there's something wrong there. We're scoring 2 goals in that amount of matches and not getting the point. That's kind of worrying. That's kind of worrying.
19 points we've lost from winning positions. Had we taken all those points, we would be, I think, 6th in the league. You know,
and finally, well, the last thing I'll just say on the general thing is, considering the amount, and people say, "Oh, you're using it as an..." No, it's not an excuse. It's a reason. There are reasons why these players would be in our first team. It's good, the good players, and we're missing a lot of good players at AFCON and injuries. We shouldn't ignore that. We shouldn't ignore that. We should accept the fact that, considering the team we put out was nowhere near our strongest side, and really we were, in my opinion, the better side and should have won. I mean, again, we lost to two dead ball kicks, and a wonder strike by a player that nobody thought was capable of doing that. So if you look at it like that, we were a little bit unlucky. We're a little bit unlucky. I didn't say his name.
I agree. I agree. I think, you know, we didn't play that bad to say that was effectively our B team. I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 players that would go in there ahead of the ones that were on the pitch. I mean, we had no Elanga, no Morgan Gibbs-White, no Niakate, no Sangare, etc. Aina, etc., etc. So it was basically our B team, and I thought we played pretty well in general. There's definitely lots of positives. Like you say, we're scoring goals now. Something we didn't do under the old regime was attack and score goals. So it's nice to see that we can actually score quite comfortably now. But at the end of the day, we lost. So we didn't play that well, obviously, or we would have won the game. But for me, and I know we've spoken about it 1,000 times, if we had a better goalkeeper in goal, some of these 3-2 matches would have been 2-1s, 2-2s, etc. And I don't know if you want to talk about the keeper yesterday, but for me, it was probably the second goal where he was more so at fault. You know, and obviously the free kick as well. I don't think he could have saved the third one because the third one actually hit the inside of the side netting. So to save that, you would have had to, you know, dive across the whole goal. But the second one maybe could have done better, and obviously the free kick as well, not moving his ball.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Ez, looking at the momentum of the game, honestly, Forest had the majority of that momentum. And just something I spoke about in the video today, there was people online saying, oh, it felt to Cooper like it was a Cooper result. But let me just read you some stats out, Ez. Okay. We had 52% possession. Can you name me a time, Forest, since we got back in the Premier League?
Home or away? Home or away?
Yeah, home or away. I've had over 40%. Our XG was 1.22 versus their 1.2. We had 12 shots to their 11, 3 shots on target to their 5. You could argue there's where the issue is. 2 big chances created to their 3. We missed 1 big chance. I would say 2 with Mangala. And our passing accuracy was better than theirs at 81% compared to 75. Looking through these stats, is this a Cooper style performance that a lot of people have been saying online?
No, not at all for me. I think the only parallel you can draw is the result, the defeat, you know. But that's the only parallel we can do. I look back to I'm trying to think of a 3-2 defeats under Cooper. So the first one, obviously, that springs to mind is Man United. We were 2-0 up. So I think in the games where we lost 3-2 under Cooper, we were ahead in those games and we lost.
So let's run through his menu.
Yeah.
Then
what was the other one?
West Ham.
Yeah.
We went ahead in that as well.
We went ahead in that one. Yeah.
Bournemouth. Were we ahead at Bournemouth? Yeah, we were. We were down to 10 men. Yeah. That was Nuno though.
That's Nuno, yeah.
Chat, what were the other ones? There's a couple more, wasn't there?
Yeah, then
yesterday.
And then what's the other one? Is there one more?
There was one more.
Was it under Nuno? I can't remember another defeat.
It wouldn't have been under Nuno.
It must have been
because in total, since we've been promoted, we've lost 10. 3-2. We've lost 5 last season, and we've lost 5 so far.
Yeah,
Brighton. Thank you, Si. It's Brighton.
Brighton, yeah. So other than the result, no, I can't draw any parallels because the way we're playing. So my overriding reflection on yesterday is that I'm not angry with play or upset with the way we played. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that we're getting good positions. We're scoring goals, but we cannot keep a clean sheet to save our lives at the moment. And I genuinely thought that's the first thing that Nuno would address when he came in. He'd tighten us up. But I go back to Ant's point. We're missing so many key players, but that can't be overlooked. You know, to throw in Bamadelli to make his debut, and apart from the winning goal, I think he just went too touch tight and he got turned far too easily for that one. I think he had a good game. To say he's made his Premier League debut in a tricky situation, really, I think he's done really well. And it's just a shame that he's had to come in under these circumstances. So the fact that we're missing so many key players gives me hope that if we carry on playing like this, but we do really, really, really need to address his goalkeeper. I know what Nuno said, and I know I backed him to say that Nuno is not the kind of person who will go back on, would say something and not mean it when he said they're not looking at goalkeepers. But I'm kind of encouraging the fan base, because I'd love you to stick up a poll, mate. I could have worded that better. Put up a poll.
Or stick a poll up in one of the two.
Put up a poll to ask the Forest fan base if you could, and we'll put this on a community tab as well. If you could only fill one position this January window, which position would it be? Goalkeeper, defender, midfield, or attack? If you could only fill one, and I'd love to see what the results would be, because I'd overridingly say it'll be goalkeeper. And if we can get that back to the club in some way, because I think Nuno's had his hands are tied on this. I don't know if he's being showing bravado and just backing his goalkeepers because that's what he's supposed to do. But I genuinely think if we don't address this, we could be in a relegation battle. I know somebody said it very early on in the chat, but if we don't address a goalkeeper situation, we will be in a relegation battle.
Is it that critical for you? Is it that critical?
Yeah, it is, absolutely, because we still don't know what's going to happen with PSR. We still don't know. So with that in the back of our minds, I need to get as many points on the board as possible. And with a goalkeeper situation as it is, I don't think it gives us our best chance.
Do you think he's at fault for any of the goals yesterday, apart from obviously the free kick?
Free kick.
Yeah, the free kick.
Apart from the free kick.
You can't say apart from the free kick because that's another game where we've conceded a goal that's been the goalkeeper's fault. You know, that's another game. You know, so
let's be square here, though. No one is saying Vlack would have been any better. I reckon we'd still be having the same conversation if Vlachodimos was in goal there.
Yeah. I prefer Turner. He comes out for the ball. At least he comes out for the ball.
I don't have to.
Vlachodimos is like the ghost, isn't he? You just don't see him.
But he's made them.
I prefer George Shelby in pre-season.
Yeah, I do.
I'd probably agree with you on that. Yeah.
We need to move on from the goalkeeper thing. I think we all agreed, don't we?
Yeah, I've just put the poll up. Pick one position. I'm pretty sure YouTube have fixed the polls, but if you can't see it, goalkeeper first, defender second, midfield third, attacker as your fourth option. Get your votes in. And also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to download the Sofascore app. The link is pinned in the chat, or do !score as one word. Done.
And hit the like button while you're doing all work.
And I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's downloaded it. It's a fantastic app. You'll find plenty of good stats with it. I just want to get through a couple of super chats, and then I want to move the conversation on to the two centre backs, Murillo and Omobamidele. Sharky with the £2. This one's for you, Ez. I am so pleased to see Ez has his mojo back. He hasn't. It's just he's not like
back in the chat.
It's because he's taking his
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. But I'm good to see you back in the chat as well.
Yeah,
Sharky.
Good to have the legend back in there. And Jordan as well with the 199. Thank you so much, Jordan. You absolutely proper, love the support you're giving to the channel, Jordan. Thank you so much. Hope you are all good, boys, tonight. We are. I think frustrated but good. So
can I just make a very quick comment on something I said?
Do a segue without you.
Yeah, okay. Somebody said about, or somebody mentioned, I think it was about Cooper. Was it similar to Cooper? No, we said last season, look, if we attack and we're not good enough, we can accept that. It's when we don't even attack and we lose anyway. And I felt like when I was watching yesterday, it was for me like a breath of fresh air. I thought we were playing the ball forwards. I thought we were comfortable in possession. We were trying to attack. We were trying to make things happen. We weren't just sitting back. We were not sitting back like we've seen for so long. And okay, we lost, but at least we've got a chance of winning now. Whereas before, we didn't have a chance of winning because we were sitting back. And one thing I absolutely loved was the interview with Nuno afterwards, when he kept saying, because I think what's his name? Frey said to him, have you considered being more defensive, blah, blah, blah. No, this is the way. This is the way. Full Mandalorian, he went. Mandalorian. He said it about 4 times. This is the way. And I loved that. I thought, yes, that's like telling Forest fans, don't worry, I'm not going Cooper style. We're going to keep trying to win games and not try not to lose games. And that for me was really encouraging.
Yeah. I kind of agree with, I think it was Gordon who just said that message. Is like, how do we move on from talking about the goalkeepers every week when they're the issue, the main issue? You got to talk about them because you got to bring up what the problems are to try and resolve them.
Yeah, agreed.
JP says Sofascore's brilliant product. My only complaint is that usually a minute ahead of the game. It's so good, JB. I'll let you know that we've scored before we actually scored.
That's good. Your alerts off, guys.
Thank you though for downloading it, bro, and thank you to everyone else downloading it. Make sure you do download that. Okay, so I just want to bring up this point, and because I want to do some chat points of discussion. Red Dog 81 saying controversial, but is Murillo overrated? Crypto, kick us off on this one.
So I got slated a few weeks ago in the chat for suggesting that Murillo.
When have you not been slated?
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I got slated for, as usual in the chat, was suggesting that Murillo would make a good CDM, and nearly everybody was against it. Dino also brought the idea up a month or so ago.
It was Dino who put it down first.
Dino brought it up originally, and I agreed with him. So the weakness for me for Murillo, and don't get me wrong, I think he's a brilliant player, but the weakness, which I've said before and I'll say again, is his defensive headers. He can't defend crosses coming into the box, and it seems to be costing us, and it's costed us on more than one occasion now. Murillo, for me, is brilliant at running out. Half the time he spends in the opposition's half. So it's almost like he wants to play that kind of CDM position. He reminds me, you know what? If Mangala goes and, let's say Sangare comes in, I would pair Murillo with Sangare at the back in the central midfield. Because I think he's a type player. He wants to break through lines. His passes are brilliant. His tackles are very good. Now, that's the one thing that makes me question myself, is that if you did take him out of defense, his tackles are brilliant. Some of the runs he makes back to get in the sliding tackle are really good. But I think you've almost got to play it set up against which team it is. If you're playing someone like Brentford, if you're playing someone like West Ham with James Ward-Prowse, and again, I said this at the time, put Bolly and Niakate in defence, because they will head the ball away. If the opposition are going to be whipping balls in, if that's their style of trying to score, then you've got to get defenders in there who can match the attackers. It was quite funny seeing Worrell on the bench, because he looked so pissed off when the cameras went on him. He looked so annoyed, which is hilarious. So no, I wouldn't put Worrell on the pitch. I'd probably ship him off to a different country. But yeah, Murillo, I think technically he's brilliant, and I think he's got a very good career ahead of him. But I think he needs to be used in either a different position, which a lot of people disagree with, or in a different match, basically a match where people aren't going to cross the ball in. He's better defending people running at him, basically, than trying.
I don't know if that answers the question though. Is he overrated, Crypto?
He's not overrated, because I think he's very good at everything else. He's brilliant at passing. He's brilliant at running. He's fast. He's strong. He can push players off the ball. I think he saves us goals. People get into our box and he pushes them away without fouling them. Sometimes he fouls them. He's a brilliant tackler. So it's such a hard decision, because it's like he's probably saving us goals by the play he's doing, but then at the same time, he's not helping when a cross comes in and he can't jump for the ball.
So what are you saying is he overrated?
I think his rating's where it should be. I think for somebody who's coming at his age to a new league, to a new culture, to a new dressing room, he's settled in really well. It doesn't look like he's only just joined us. It looks like he's been here for years. From that point of view, for where he settled in, the plaudits he's got from non-Forest fans, that speaks quite highly of what I think he's capable of. And I agree with Crypto. He's nowhere near fulfilling his potential. I hope he fulfills at least half of it with us, because I do think he's one of those that will find it hard in the coming year to hold on to. So I don't think he's overrated. I think he has got weaknesses to his game and his stuff that we really need to look at. That second goal, I don't think we went into it too much. I think Crypto kind of said it was a goalkeeper, but obviously it was Montiel who lost his man. It was Ben Mee, and we had Murillo at the front post to attack the ball. Now he's been blindsided by the Ben Mee coming in, but Murillo, we've got. I don't know if that's norm. I've gone again. I might be able to say better than me, but usually do put a smaller man at the front post, because we normally put Aurier there. When Aurier is playing, he's normally the guy at the front post, isn't he? So I don't know if that's the norm or something just Forest too.
That's one of Aurier's weaknesses. He can't head either.
Exactly.
Yeah, you put a small player on the front post, so you can keep taller players out on the penalty spot. That's why you do that.
Which goal was it where he wasn't goal side of the guy who headed it in? Was that the second one?
Yeah,
because there was a goal where the ball went in and he was basically the wrong side of them to be able to even have a chance to head it. I think it was
Montiel lost him, and then he snuck up behind Murillo for the second one, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then there was another player in front of him. I think it was Nuno Tavares, who we will come on to. I don't know what he was doing further in front.
I think with Murillo, the midfield thing, I wouldn't be averse to seeing it tried, but you've got to remember, midfielder for me is two main attributes, or knowing what's going on around you and turning quickly on the ball and progressing forward. When you're playing as a defender, you don't have to turn on the ball because you get the ball in front of you. And you know what I mean? It's a totally different skill set. And also, regarding the looking around you, knowing what's going off, I don't think Murillo is necessarily a bad header of the ball. I just think he switches off. I don't think he could. He's a young boy. He's a very young boy. It's going to take him a while to get the experience and realise you've got to be on it all the time. And I think often the reason he doesn't get to the headers is because it's too late to jump. It's already happened. So I think that can be coached into you, and experience brings that to you as well. And if that's the case, I think he will be a fantastic central defender. Like I say, in midfield, I don't know if he's got the awareness and the turn that you need to be able to take
but are you tempted to see it?
No, it might do.
But just in front, a CDM position, you know, a CDM position to break the play open.
Yeah, I could see that. Him and Sangare, I could see them two working.
You were so against it 2 weeks ago, and now you.
When I said yesterday a few weeks ago, I got absolutely rinsed.
No. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. But you know, if I did see it, I'd be interested to see how it went. But I don't want to see it because I don't want us to play a double pivot. I want us to play as 1 and 2.
Okay, so even if
you're expecting Murillo to carry the ball 40 yards every game, it's not really, or you know, several times a game. He doesn't do that. He picks it every now and again. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to happen anyway. I think he's going to be kept as a central defender.
Yeah, it probably won't. It probably won't happen.
I mean, just quick point on it. I think he's got the attributes, and the more I think about it, the more I would like to possibly see us try it out. Obviously, once we've got our players back from the AFCON and we've got a full squad, but I genuinely wouldn't mind seeing it, because if let's say we do lose Mangala, and we'll discuss, maybe, I don't know if it's on the agenda, but we will discuss the latest stuff that's coming in for him. Say if we lose Mangala and Sangare is your only CDM, because I still don't rate, although he's done well, Yates has done well, I still don't rate him as a CDM. I think he's a bit more of an 8. As a backup, I wouldn't mind seeing Murillo put there as a backup, because I think he has got a lot of the attributes needed. I understand what he's saying and about turning on the ball, but I think that's something that can be trained. You know, he can be trained to be more aware on with his back to goal, or you know, and with players around him. That can be trained into him. So I've got a tendency to think that it would work, because he's got a lot of the attributes: his long balls, his control of a ball, his tackling, like Crypto's mentioned. I see a lot of positives that could work in the CDM position for a player like him. So I don't think
it's more. For me, it's more he's misreading the flights of the ball. He gets under the ball. It may be what Ant was saying about lack of concentration or what have you. I just feel like, and he doesn't look very tall. I don't know if that's because he's 6 foot wide.
He's
6 foot apparently. Again, that's another thing I got absolutely slated for a few weeks ago, was suggesting that there's no way Bolly and Niakate can be better headers of the ball at 6'4" and 6'5", because height doesn't count. But of course, height counts. If you're, just people in the chat.
Yeah, I don't think you always get slated for what you say. I think it's just that you say anything. So I wouldn't take it to heart.
If you're 6'5", if you're Bolly or Niakate and you're jumping for a ball and you've got a magic extra 5 inches on the guy next to you, you're gonna win that ball. You're gonna get that ball out of the box. In the same way that one of our best defensive headers of the ball is actually Chris Wood. Chris Wood spends a lot of time back in our own box heading the ball out. He does it a lot. He does it pretty much every game, and he's really, really good at it. So height definitely makes a difference. If you can jump higher, if you're taller, if you're taller than the guy who's going to try and head it against you, you're going to win the header, basically.
But I think this is a really good point from Chris. And again, thank you so much for the £2, bud. He says Murillo has played under 50 senior games. He's got to develop. I think there is a narrative in the fan base to try and push him to Maldini status too quickly. You'll take. I would. All right. Let me ask you this: would any of you rather play Worrell or McKenna ahead of Murillo?
Hell no.
No. I mean, Worrell would be my last choice. I'd rather have Stephen Reed on than Worrell.
So, chat, put an M for Murillo and McKenna have the same name. All right, put an M if you would. Out of those three, who would you have ahead? Like, put M for Murillo, put a K for McKenna, and put a W for Worrell. Because if
I don't think that's going to be close.
If you put a W, we're going to time you out.
I think that's the question in a different way. If everybody's fit and we're just playing two centre backs, he's one of my centre backs.
But why can't we just play the right centre back for the right?
Let's do it that way. All right, stop. That's a better question. That's a way better question. Okay, everyone fits.
Who's your two centre back pairing?
Choice centre backs, right?
Yeah. Let's do this. I hate leaving Niakate out. I hate it.
I know. But them two work.
Maybe you don't. All right, Ed, seeing that you came up with that genius question, right? You can kick us off. Who's your first two?
I think everybody's fully fit.
Yeah,
I've got to say, because maybe it's because it's Felipe Murillo. It's Felipe Murillo. If everybody's fully fit, it's them two.
Felipe, I forgot about Felipe.
Felipe Murillo.
All right, forget Felipe. Felipe's done, right?
Okay. Everybody's fully fit. I think I'll go Bolly and Murillo.
Have you got an agenda against Niakate? Because he's one of our best defenders.
No, because I'd rather have a right and a left-footed. Ideally, if everybody's fit.
I think it's because he's Muslim. He doesn't like Niakate. Go on, and who would you guys? You're fully fit too. No Felipe's.
Look, this is really hard. No, it's really hard, and I'm glad it's really hard because it means we've got more than two central defenders.
You're saying Felipe. I get it.
I would have gone Felipe. But I'm going to go Niakate and Bolly. And the surprise for me, more than Niakate, is the fact that Bolly's in there because you would have thought, like, part through last season, you wouldn't imagine that Bolly would still be here and considered one of our better.
He hates Murillo, mate. He's got an anti-Murillo agenda.
No, it's really. You know what? I absolutely adore Niakate, and I think he's good at everything, including heading. He's perhaps not got the explosion of going forward the way Murillo has. Maybe we need Murillo in midfield, a crypto. You know what I'm saying?
I think you lot need to put some respect on Niakate's name. I can't believe either of you haven't chosen Niakate.
I have. I just have.
He just did.
Are you listening?
He just did. Yeah, you're not listening.
Oh, did you? I thought you said Bolly and Murillo.
Yeah.
No.
So you're saying Bolly and Niakate? Okay. What are you saying, Crypto?
So what I would do is, for teams that attack you through the middle, I would choose Murillo and Niakate.
Cheating.
The teams that come,
you're doing a Tony here.
Teams that come through the wing, I'd choose Bolly and Niakate.
Yeah, we can all do that.
Yeah, but that's what you should do. You should play the game. You can't be sentimental and just choose Murillo because he's your boy.
No, I agree.
Play to the game.
Revisionism from me.
Go on.
Revisionism from me. I'm going to go Niakate and Murillo. And I tell you what, just for the added bonus, Niakate and Murillo, for the added bonus of Niakate's throw-ins. Bolly hasn't got that. That's
you just said you don't want two left-footed players.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather have Niakate's long throw-ins than a right foot, left foot. If that came down to
my God.
Basically,
why can't we just play the best player for the game?
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. If it's a high ball team, then Niakate. If it's not, then Murillo. I can understand that. But basically, what we say is any two from three. Any two from three.
Statistically, and Niakate is one of the worst headers of the ball in the Premier League. Statistically,
I preferred Bolly.
Yeah. You've got to get off that fucking Sofascore. I swore. Damn, we're doing so well. You've got to get off that.
You can swear.
You got to get off that sofa score, man.
That wasn't on Sofascore. But what I will tell you, out of the three who just gave their pairings, the correct answer is Ant's one. It should be Niakate and Bolly. I think that's a tasty pairing. I do. I think it works. Because Niakate can throw the ball out. You do just worry a little bit about Bolly's pace. Bolly would be the one you would tag in. I think Niakate has to be the mainstay. And then you develop Murillo and Mbamadeli around him, you know? Because he's still quite young. He's 27.
Has Murillo been dropped for a game since he's come in?
No.
I can't remember. No. And he pretty much plays 90 minutes, which is another bonus for him. His stamina is amazing. Excuse me.
All right. Just on that poll, 85% of you are saying goalkeeper. Everyone get voting. There's nearly just under 400 of you in here. I am going to send this to the club. We will make our FFTV community point, and I'll put it up as a community poll as well. The club love listening to what you guys think. So put what position you think is the most important. I probably should have worded it a bit clearer, given it to the club. But yeah, get those votes in. But 85% goalkeeper, 2% defender, 1% midfielder, and 12% attack. And I just want to go into the actual team itself. We haven't talked about the lineup. Was there anything in that team you would have changed, or were you quite happy with the setup?
Well, on reflection, or before the game started?
Well, we're here now, aren't we?
Okay, on reflection, I would have had Toffolo in for Tavares.
You love your boy Tavares, man.
No, I said when Tavares, I said, look, Forest fans are going to love him going forward, but don't expect anything defensively. That's what I've always said. I've never claimed he was any good, but going forward, he's an exciting player.
He did. Yeah.
And his corner, his free, his delivery is superb. But I do like a fullback or a wing back even that can defend a bit. And Toffolo is a far better defender, and he's got a good ball delivery as well. And he's more reliable, isn't he? With Tavares, he can pull off something fantastic. And I mean, did you see that swivel and turn he did to get through about 3 players? Absolutely Maradona-like. No, and then he gives it away. You know what I mean? And that is Tavares in a nutshell.
That's a good point from James. James was there. Yeah, sorry, go on. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
That one. Bring back.
Oh, we're just saying that he's a bit of a headless chicken.
Yeah. So in our current circumstances, I would have preferred Toffolo because I think he's more reliable on and off the ball. Actually, he gets in the right positions and he can also deliver. So yeah, that's the one change I could think of. One thing that came very clear to me yesterday is love Ryan Yates, love him, but guys got
can't shoot.
There were times yesterday when he was absolutely in acres of space and he got the ball and he didn't have a clue. Bless him. I mean, I'm not getting on to him. That's not his game. But it was frustrating that if he had somebody with a bit of an eye and a bit of a foot that could have played an incisive ball,
or shoot,
we could have torn them to shreds.
Or shoot.
But he passed it either wide, or he ran with it a bit, or he went backwards. And it's not his game. I accept that. But God, we missed MGW yesterday. We really did.
Yeah. I think you make a great point there, Ant, because there was a pocket just outside the D, and he was in the right place. I said it on the stream. It's the right place with the wrong person. He had so much space on the edge of that box, and his shots were woeful. They really were. But you're like,
and I don't want to get on to him, because it's not his game. But
yeah, but you could level that the same. You don't want Mangala there. We saw Mangala with a few positions. Okay, MGW has started to bang him in now, but traditionally he wasn't exactly a 25.
But you can create from there as well, can't you? Not just shoot. You can create from there.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking like in terms of that. The ball just lands nicely to a midfielder. Yeah. You'll see it with like an Odegaard or something in Arsenal and what have you. We haven't really got that. I would say my most comfortable player to shoot from the edge of the box, I probably trust Dominguez, to be honest, out of the midfielders. To maybe potentially
he had some bad shots as well.
But who's there to pick from? Do you know what I mean? Our long range finishing.
Murillo.
Maybe Danilo now. Danilo banged it in, didn't he? So
Aguilera,
yeah. But it's something they need to work on. So you'd have changed Tavares. Ez, would you have changed anyone in that starting lineup outside of Tavares? By the way, these two were like, bring him in after the Blackpool first leg. These two are like, yeah, it's amazing. Chop and change right now.
I mean, Tavares there's a couple of occasions. It is for him. I think he is another one of his headless chickens because I think it was one where their shot hit the crossbar and bounced back out. He was in acres of space, mate. If he'd had the foresight just to take it a few more yards, he's got he could have got Chris Woods through 1-on-1, but he decides from a halfway line to try and get an early pass in, which he was nowhere near doing it. The decision making is really poor from a few of our players, and we don't have that threat for goals really from midfield. I think you touched on it in the player ratings yesterday. I said Mangala, the amount of chances he had yesterday, and he's not hit the target with any of them. He's not made the goalkeeper make a save, and they were all really good positions. So that's obviously something that we'd love to address. Maybe MG Dub is getting it. You know, he's certainly last 2 games, 2 goals, so you can't really fault that. I would like to see Dominguez more on the ball. But in terms of a starting lineup, I think I would have gone with what I suggested. But to be fair, got to praise Danilo. I didn't get a chance to say what I need to say, but we gave him the pep talk that he needed, and he came back and he did the business yesterday. But I probably would have had, if I was going to play Tavares, it would have been ahead of Toffolo at left back, and then have which meant I probably would have dropped Yatesy from the starting lineup yesterday. On that basis, but Yatesy is limited, you know, and he knows what his limits are. And fair play to him, you know, he does what he does best. But you're not.
Why did everyone have to tiptoe around when they talk about Yates? Like, why did everyone have to caveat?
No, I'll always say he's limited. He's limited at this level.
No,
I think we've all said he's a decent squad player. I think.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? It's like you can't talk about Yates or criticize him without having to say, "Oh, I love Yates."
I think
because yesterday he did do some good stuff. He did get stuck. I do get frustrated with the fouls he gives away. It's like every time I see him go in, I thought this is going to be a foul. You know, that's not winning. That's not winning the ball, is it? It's not winning the ball if you get committing a foul because you're giving the ball away. So that frustrates me. But he does, you know, he has got some good aspects to his game, but it's not a first team player.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, no, my point is the opposite. It's like there's people so sensitive. If someone criticizes Yates, even if they big him up as well, it's like, oh, well, you hate.
I think if you're constructive, no one can. I think if you're constructive,
they do.
Giving you criticism, you know, you're not just saying, oh, you shit, and you don't say why, you know.
Yeah. Crypto. Before Laurie's desperate to talk about her new boyfriend, Dominguez, I want to save that one for the other one who's fighting for her, which is Ez. Let's talk about Chris Wood. 6 goals in 6 games. Me and you, it's fair to say, Crypto, have not been his biggest fan. I'll put my neck on the line right here. Well, you can flip-flop. I'm still not convinced he's the real deal. He's definitely a different player under Nuno. Nuno's brought the best out of him. I'll 100% concede that.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Chris Wood.
Chris Woods.
Oh, Chris Wood.
Yeah. So I'll just put in my 2 cents, and I'll be the bad guy on this. He's never going to be a starter for me ever. If Taiwo's fit, Taiwo goes in. But you have to give him credit. He's getting the goals in. He did lay off a couple to Mangala yesterday, and his pressing I thought was good in the first 10 minutes of the game. But what are your thoughts now, seeing that you've changed your name and you look like you're flip-flopping? Where are you with Chris Wood?
I think yesterday he played well. For me, it's kind of similar to the centre-back positioning. I think that if you want to play down the wing, crossing the ball in, then Chris Wood's the man for it. Because he is good at heading, but if you want to run at players and have that type of attack, then you need Taiwo in. You can utilize them in different ways, and I think that's what we're really lacking now. Is that if Chris Wood starts, you have to carry on whether it works or not because we don't have a backup.
Yeah.
Whereas if a Wani was in, you could start Wani for example, and if it wasn't working, switch out to Chris Wood, and it gives us a different type of attack. And I think that's really useful to have. I thought yesterday he played pretty well. He does the thing that annoys me about him is he spends a lot of time in midfield, and I don't really like to see that from a striker. I'd rather the striker be there, ready to pounce on getting goals. We've seen from the heat maps recently that a lot of his time is spent almost behind the central attacking midfielders, which is really strange. But I don't know if he's utilized in the right way. I think he's okay, but he would never really be my first choice. And there's just a lot of the thing why I call him out in the past is it often seems like he doesn't really care and he doesn't put that much effort in. But then all of a sudden, like the Newcastle game and like yesterday, he did. At the end of the day, we need goals, and if he's scoring goals, then fair play to him. We need goals to stay up. So it's a tough one. I don't think he's the best striker we've ever had, but he's definitely not the worst either. He's not Andre Ayew, for example.
Just before I bring the defense league in on Chris Wood, 1865 Fred, you've always been my favorite. You've always been, because you listen to what I say, and I did say off the bat that he will fit in perfectly in a Nuno setup. Taiwo will fit even better, but yeah, I just wanted to point out. Shout out to 1865 who listens and calls me out when it's right and speaks the truth when he does. All right, you two I know are got full wood right now. Who wants to go first? You two.
Go on.
I'm really pleased for Chris Wood because obviously me included, he's had a lot of stick to put up with, a lot of criticism to put up with, and I think this season he's proving that he's a decent player. He's not, he's not world class. Taiwo is a far better player, and when he comes back, Taiwo will be the number one striker. But Taiwo's injured every fart's end, so we need somebody to back him up. And at the moment, Chris Wood's done a fine job. Yesterday, and I mean this, and I know that Sky Sports will probably be sending me a letter right now admonishing me, but I thought he had a far better game than Toney yesterday. Far better game than Toney. His goal was better. His hold-up play was better. His layoffs were better. I thought he had a better game than Ivan Toney yesterday. And it's only the Toney hype that has like confused that. Has like merged it into something that it wasn't. So yeah, I'm really pleased for the guy. And you can't knock him. He's scoring goals. He's playing well. We need him. We need him. You imagine if he wasn't there, Divock Origi, that's all I'll say.
Well, he's injured. We'd have no one. We literally would have no one.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, if you want to take it to that extent, yeah, we'd have no one. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased with the way he's playing at the moment.
Gunners, has he won you over or is it a purple patch? What are you thinking?
I think just to kind of contrast what Crypto said, that he didn't seem to be bothered, but I haven't seen that under Nuno. I think in every game under Nuno, he's done what he was asked to do, and he's played a good role. And I think he's won me over to an extent. I've got to be honest. Yeah, I've got to be honest. When you're wrong, you're wrong. And me as well as everybody else was peeved off with the deal, which really can't blame him for the deal. The deal was done by others, but he's gonna get out of the brunt of it, but also because he wasn't delivering on the pitch, and he did look disinterested for a lot of the games, certainly under the previous manager, but certainly since Nuno's coming, I think he's been a real asset, and it's just a shame that we've got no one to give him a rest, because at the moment he's having to play 90 minutes. I think if I don't see under what circumstance he would have brought Osong on yesterday. He may have done it in the league, in the cup game if we'd stayed 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go. But there's no one to replace him at the moment. So he's doing everything that's needed to be done of him, and he's playing all the minutes as well. He's won me round at the moment, to be honest. But like our Aki Mohammed said in the chat earlier, Taiwo is number one. Taiwo's number one, but he's got to have some backup for at least for the rest of this season. And
under Cooper, there was no service to Wood, was there?
Yeah,
we weren't really the balls weren't getting whipped in for him to get on the end of. So I think that's why under Cooper he looked like a different player. He's definitely improved. So I think fair play to
punt the ball forward, which isn't his game, is it, Ben?
Not when he sits behind the midfielders. No, yeah. He's definitely not a counter-attacking player. He's obviously not that fast either. So that's what I mean. You can play him in different situations. I still feel that for Newcastle, he just had a point to prove. He was on cloud 9, wanting to score against his old club, and he did what he wanted to do, and he got the job done. But yeah, I mean, he has improved. And fair play to him, he's getting us goals, and that's really all we can ask for.
What's interesting, Ben? Just let me chuck you some stats. I've just gone on Sofascore. Please download the app if you haven't already. It's pinned in the chat. Nice little plug there. Yeah, I'm getting good at this. He had 42 touches yesterday. I've never seen him get into double figures under Cooper. His passing accuracy was 83%. 4 key passes. I might have been a bit harsh on him in the player ratings. I'll hold my hand up. Like watching back the match, you forget, don't you? You can't remember everything at the time. Yeah. But the layoffs into Mangala were fantastic.
That was good. It was good.
Aerial duels, he wasn't that great on it. He won 1 out of 4. Sorry, he won
0 out of 6 was the goal, wasn't it? The one he won was the goal.
Yeah. But that
it's definitely better yesterday. I'm not really a fan of when he scored the other day from 20 centimeters out and everyone said, "Oh, he scored, he's amazing again," because you know anybody could have tapped that in.
No.
And could have tapped that in. And
would have been there, mate. And would have had not have been there.
Go on, and get in there. And
would not have been there.
Tap the ball.
Origi would have been 10 yards out, mate. So it does matter. You've got to.
Yeah, but I'm not comparing him to Divock Origi. I'm comparing him to someone
of striking is being in the right place, being in the right place at the right time. If you're not in the right place at the right time, you will not score.
Don't say holding the ball up.
Hey?
Okay. All right. So we're all.
I thought I was going to kick off. I was going to ask you popcorn crypto.
That just died. It literally just died. Yeah, I agree with TC. He gives a shit. Goals are goals. If they go in, they go in. Yeah. And yeah,
got to be there.
Huh?
You've got to be there, haven't you? You got to be in the right place.
Yeah, you do have to have the vision. I'm not saying it was bad. Matt in the comments, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying, like, I think people overhype him sometimes. Like, oh my god, he scored. He's really good. Yeah, he's in a good patch at the moment. But just because he scores
one
goal,
Forest fan or not? We idolize anybody that scores a goal anytime.
And I must disagree with you. I thought Ivan Toney was the man of the match yesterday.
You and Sky Sports.
All right, Kara.
Oh, it's old employees.
He's trying. He's trying.
Blood is thicker than water and all that.
Drop that one in there.
Yeah. All right. Let's appease Laurie and Ez. Let's talk about him. He's been sensational. Under Nuno, I think he's up there as most consistent there. I'll let Ez talk about him because Ez.
Yeah. Talk for a bit, Ez, because I'm nipping to get a drink. So talk for a
bit. So Ez, you and Ben take it away.
He'll be on his own.
And I'll meet you in the toilet.
All right, mate.
Literally, I mean, I'm sure Crypto's going to agree with a lot of what I'm going to say here, but he's been outstanding. He's been so solid since Nuno's come in, and I'm glad that he's been given that run because Cooper was in and out, shake it all about with him, wasn't he? You'd give him a run of 2 games maybe and take him out and blame him for a mistake and not let him recover from it. If you remember, was it what game was it where he gave a ball? Yeah. So he never let him recover from that. I think he's everywhere on the pitch for a start. You know, he seems to pop up in every single location. He seems to be the one that's making us tick at the moment. I think he can work as a cam if we employed him in that position because I just think he's got that awareness around him. I've been highly impressed with him. He's almost captaincy material for me as well. But his work rate, his engine, considering like with a lot of the others as well, and you got to throw Danilo into that mix as well, playing 120, 130 minutes against Blackpool, then doing a full 90 minutes yesterday as well. His energy levels are just fantastic. And I just wish we got the system right where when he does start pressing, a couple of others go with him because he does do what he's supposed to do. But I just don't think he's getting quite the right support in that system at the moment. But he's one for me that to imagine that, to say he's an upgrade from Freuler is not even worth mentioning. But to imagine that we've got him instead of Freuler this season, I think that's probably been the deal of the season so far from our point of view. We've got to make it permanent, and I think he's one that I'd make him a captain, mate. I would make him a captain of a team right now.
You said that early on in the season, Ez. I remember you saying that. Crypto, just try to get your thoughts on him. Let me read you some more stats out from Sofascore. Everyone take a sip. If you drink, make sure you downloaded it. Okay, so he had 87 touches, 1 key pass, 84 pass completion accuracy. Crosses 2 into the box. Long balls 3 out of 6 complete. Ground duels won 8 out of 13. Aerials won. He's not very tall, is he? He won 2 out of 5 still. He did lose possession 17 times. 1 blocked shot, 1 interception, 2 tackles. Very solid performance. If you look at his heat map, predominantly down the right, but he was also on the left, tracking back and everything. Absolutely solid performance from him.
Yeah, and it's completely different from under the old regime where we sat back too deep and we couldn't utilize not just him but people like Danilo, etc. Now they've been given the freedom. In fact, Morgan Gibbs-White is probably a better example, but now they've been given the freedom to go forward and attack. And the thing I like about Dominguez, apart from how brilliant he is at pressing,
say his name right.
Dominguez, yeah. What's wrong with that? Dominguez.
Dominguez.
What? Dominguez. Dominguez. Okay, Dominguez. So apart from his brilliant pressing, he also tracks back, which is something that people like Johnson didn't used to do. So I think he's a great playmaker. And I think he can play in multiple different positions. And once he's given the freedom, he can be pretty much anywhere in that midfield and make a big impact. And yeah, it was that wayward pass, wasn't it, that lost him his place in the team under Cooper.
Yeah.
But apart from that, he was playing pretty well under Cooper anyway, even though it was kind of out of position. So yeah, he's doing really well for me. I think he's one of the starters on the team sheet for me, for sure. And
what is his position? Because I think he's an 8, but he's impressive on the left side and the right.
Yeah, because he's all action, isn't he? Let's face it, wherever you put him, he goes everywhere. Yeah. The guy, I mean, he was called the king of the press, and you can see why. I actually thought our pressing was a lot better yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, especially
we are pressing further up the field. We never saw pressing up the field under previous management. It was nice to see, really nice. I'd just like to read something for you, and that's Wikipedia. But I find Wikipedia generally quite accurate. On 3rd of September 2023, on 1st of September 2023, Dominguez signed with Premier League side Nottingham Forest on a 5-year deal in a swap for Remo Freuler. That's what it says. He's on a 5-year deal.
To be fair to Freuler, he was played out of position as well. I know it was.
Let's not be fair to Freuler. Let's not be fair to Freuler.
Yeah. No, I will be. No, because I do wonder how Freuler would be doing under Nuno, because he'd play him in the right position.
No, I don't think he's good as Dominguez.
I agree. Yeah. But like, he scores a lot of goals internationally, doesn't he?
He does. He looks great. He looks great when he plays for anybody else.
Yeah.
So maybe it was down to the system. Yeah. But I can't regret playing Dominguez. He's a great little
I love him.
As mentioned,
we actually signed him. Sorry.
Let me just say, as mentioned, is
Blue Eyes
ability to play 120 minutes and then another 90 a few days later and not look like he was slowing down. That's some engine. Honest.
Yeah, because I think it was Crypto that kind of mentioned it, that there was a spell in the game yesterday where Danilo went off the pace, and I can forgive him for that, having played the 120 minutes. And then, you didn't see that from Dominguez. Dominguez was, you look at his heat map, and he was predominantly down the right-hand side, but when you use the eye test, he was everywhere. Every time Forest had the ball in the opposing half, it went through him, and I think he's such a key player right now, and I just can't wait for MG Dub to come back and really see that partnership grow, because that, I think, could be the key to our season, really. If you can get them two players linking up and getting that, and obviously adding Danilo to that mix, I think there's a lot of positives. And you did mention there's so many positives to take out yesterday. Negatives are, we've still got that underlying problem with conceding goals, and part of that problem is the goalkeeper situation, which we've already mentioned. But there are so many positives with the way we play under Nuno, because we don't give up in games either, and that's something we did do before. Go on.
I liked Dominguez when he played on the left.
Dominguez,
you see Dominguez as I like Mr. Diaz when he played on the left. See, what I would do is, I'm not sure how many people agree with me, but I would drop Callum Hudson-Odoi. And I would have Dominguez on the left and Elanga on the right. So I'd drop Cho and have Dominguez on the left, Elanga on the right. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White in the middle, and Wood or Wani up front. that for me would be the perfect kind of attacking four.
You get me excited, mate. That's literally what I would do. I think that's our best team. And I don't know if it's the happy clapper juice kicking in and everything, but I am genuinely excited to see what our team is going to look like when everyone's back. It just, well, but we just haven't seen it, have we? Yeah. We just haven't seen it. And I do want to touch that onto that in a second, but I forgot to remind everyone. So we got the Forest ground, Nathan, right here. We've got the Forest flag right here, and we've got the gnome right here, the Forest gnome. That is being given away, all three to one winner tomorrow. So if you haven't entered the competition for that, please go and enter right now. Stop what you're doing this very second and enter the competition. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys now. Yeah, I've got your gnome, Matt. What you need to do is make sure you're following us on Twitter, following Foco, who have set all this up, and retweet and like that post that I've just put in there now in the comments. And we will draw the winner tomorrow. One winner who gets all three. You must be in the UK for that to be applicable for that. So make sure you're in there. Laurie, I've seen yours in there. Matt, I've seen yours in there. There's no qualifying question or anything like that on this one. One winner is going to get all three of those. So please do. You've got a few hours left to enter yourselves in there. Okay. I just want to talk looking ahead for the last segment here, boys. Bristol City, let's ignore that one as cup match. Arsenal away, Arsenal at home, Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home, West Ham at home, Villa, Liverpool. That takes us into March. Looking at those fixtures, as how are you feeling looking into them? I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Where are the points, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, it's a difficult run, especially with the current injury situation and obviously the AFCON situation. But I am hoping that we have a little bit of a surprise before our next league game. I'm not like you, I'm not that fussed about the cup game, but it is important noting that obviously if we do get through, then one of those games is going to be moved because it'll be, I think, game week 29.
No, it's not. Arsenal's on Tuesday.
Not the Arsenal game, but one of the games that you've just mentioned in that run will be moved. So, but honestly, and we said it a couple of weeks ago, and it was a little bit cocky, I think, at a time, but I think it was after my new game. But I don't fear any team at the moment. Honestly, under Nuno, I don't actually fear playing anybody home or away. Even the Arsenal game, I think we're more than capable of getting a result out of that game. Under the lights, it's a Tuesday night game. Anything's possible. And obviously, I'm hoping we'll have a few more players back by then. Certainly, Elanga or maybe MG Dub, but we need some attacking options. So I'm not too worried. And like I say, in general, no games really putting a fear in me. I'm confident that we can get results out of most games, home or away. And I'm not fearful. I don't care who we're up against at the moment. And I'm loving feeling like that because Nuno's brought that back and he's kind of given me my club back. And I want to thank Nuno for that because it is true. It's for me, I got to that point where I said, I don't care anymore. I wasn't bothered about the result. And I didn't like feeling like that because I love my club and I love being involved. But I got to a point where it was hurting me seeing us play like that and coming out, playing bad and coming out with results. Like yesterday, we've had these results. They drew the parallel earlier. I've come out of defeats under Cooper and I felt like the fucking world's going to end. But I didn't feel like that after yesterday. So there is a massive shift in, I think, the overall mental, not just me. I think for a lot of fans, it's a lot more positive, even with potential PSR, whatever that's going to happen with that, we still don't know. And I think the speculation is going to just grow and grow until that is announced. But with all that on the horizon, I'm not fearful of this season. I'm not fearful of any team that we're coming up against. And I hope that's not just me. And I don't think it is just me feeling like that.
And you must be feeling conflicted this week coming up.
No, I'm not. Fuck off.
Can I ask Anne a question? What are you sat in the home or away stand?
Well,
He sat next to me wherever he is.
Listen, I paid 49 quid for a West Ham ticket the other day. Was it West Ham? Yeah. I've got 43 quid for a Newcastle ticket, 40 odd quid for an Arsenal ticket. What do you freaking think?
I thought you got him for free with the AFTV boys.
Yeah. Or maybe you're just trying to build up, some points on your membership so you definitely don't miss the Arsenal game. Maybe it's a big ploy.
Yeah. You know, with the PSR thing, I've kind of, with the precedent that's gone so far, with Everton getting 10 points, which is likely, I believe, to get reduced on appeal. It normally happens like that.
Yeah,
I think so. They know that there's going to be an appeal, so they bung on a few more so they can take them off. Yeah. But I'm going to stick with 10 points. That's in my mind what I'm saying. Red and white.
I don't think we'll get 10 points because we haven't broken.
No, crypto. I'm not saying we'll. That is my safety net. That's got to be the maximum scenario.
Worst case scenario.
That's got to be the maximum, hasn't it? There's no way they can give us more than 10 because Everton got 10.
They could give 30, but let's not even put that.
You know what I'm saying. I think it's likely to be around the 6 points, but the most is going to be 10. So that's why I'm looking at it. We need to finish 10 points above, and when we get our players back, I believe we can do that. And that's the way I'm looking at it.
Diversion.
Yeah, diversion.
If we lost 10 points now, we'd be 19th on the same points as Sheffield, Blunts.
Yeah, but we'll still be ahead of them. Okay. Crypto, I want to ask you this though, because I am getting a little worried. The thing that is worrying me in these games coming up is that we just played Blackpool for about 300 hours the other night. We've just then gone a couple of days later and played Brentford. Then we got Bristol on Friday and Arsenal on the Tuesday. It's quite a quick turnaround over this next week or so. Should we be ignoring the cup and maybe putting some kids out? Because this Arsenal game is big. I kind of do fancy our chances, but what do you think about this cup versus league thing? What would you do here?
So, I mean, I quite like the FA Cup as a competition, but in the circumstances, we've got to concentrate on the league just because of FFP, just in case we were to get points deducted. What I'd really like to see against Bristol is George Shelby in goal, a Song up front, Aguilera in the 10. To be honest, we should beat them with that team anyway. So it's normal for you to have a cup side and a league side. And I'd like us to take the FA Cup seriously, but in the predicament we're in, you have to focus on the league, I think, as the main thing, because you can't risk relegation.
Do you boys agree?
You play a weakened team. I think you got it.
So I play some of the younger lads to give them at the end of the day, it's Bristol City. If we were playing, if it was Friday night against, I don't know, Manchester United, I'd probably put a full squad out. But against Bristol City, you should be able to beat them with some of your younger players, to be honest. It depends. I think there's still 4 days between. It's not that short a time. 4 days is not too bad.
Yeah,
I actually agree. I think that we should put a strong side out, but not take any risk with players if they're fatigued, if they're in the red zone, if they've got little knocks. I don't think we need to play them because the Premier League is more important. But I think we should be able to put a decent side out that's capable, as you say, of beating a team mid-table in the Championship. That's fact.
Exactly. If we're talking specific players, when is Awani due back? Because if Awani isn't due back by Arsenal, then I probably wouldn't risk Chris Wood. Because what happens if someone goes and snaps Chris Wood in half on Friday? Then what do we do?
I think Taiwo is back for Bournemouth. Roughly, maybe sub Bournemouth and start Newcastle if I had to work out the time frames.
I wouldn't risk positions where we don't have any backup. Basically, that's how I'd do it.
But Nicky's right, isn't he? As Nuno will play his strongest team. He just feels like that kind of manager to me.
Yeah, and he's kind of said what he said about the FA Cup already. So I think he's definitely going to be opportunities to get into the 5th round, won't it be for us? We don't do it too often, so it's a good opportunity to do that, and you can't really sniff out the chance of getting through when you are up against Bristol City, which is a League One. Well, they're League One, aren't they? Are they Championship?
Yeah,
you might be right. Yeah, I can't remember. They're one of those yo-yo teams between the Championship and League One, so I don't.
Like Sheffield
They beat West Ham, don't forget.
Yeah, well, they did beat West Ham, but
Sheffield drew with them, so I wouldn't really call that a scalp.
I wouldn't.
West
Yeah, I
Ham
wouldn't
were
look
shocking that
too
night.
much into it. But the Chris Wood situation is a key one for me, because if you're going to expect him to play the majority of that Bristol game, and then you've got Arsenal a few days later, which is for me obviously is the more important game, especially at home, because you got to fancy us at least, even against the top sides, to get at least a point at home. So that's the tricky one for me. Would you start? I don't know if I start with Osong. I might start with Wood and make sure Osong gets at least 30 minutes. It comes on the hour mark.
I'm not even considering him. But can you believe? Who'd have thought a few weeks ago we'd be sitting here saying, "Well, we can't afford to risk Chris Wood in this game."
Yeah, because I don't know where.
I agree with you, by the way. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, who'd have thought we'd have said that?
The thing is, though, if Chris Wood does start on Friday, fair enough. If someone goes and snaps his leg in half, everyone will be sat here saying we shouldn't have started Chris Wood.
Yeah,
now we have no backup.
An extreme circumstance, you know.
Well, if he gets injured, you know, if Arctic Fox comes on and runs Chris Wood over in a bus like he threatened to do with Morgan Gibbs White,
in his bus, yeah.
Speaking of Rob, he's just like determined that we read this point out, because I'm going to address my point. Get a 5th round cup fixture. We can delay a game until Taiwo, Olango, etc. are fit. That's another fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point as well. Now, Chris, you're just way too generous, bro. Thank you again for the £2. We're all Equatorial Guinea tomorrow, aren't we? Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Paying attention. Are we?
Are they playing Ivory Coast? Are they playing Ivory Coast?
Can't Ivory Coast go out tomorrow?
Yeah.
They lost 2 games. No, were they?
They will. Hold on, let me check Sofascore.
So we'd get Sangare.
I've run out of drink, man.
3 players, isn't there? Sangare, Aurier, and is it Bolly?
Hold on. Thank you again for the £2, Chris. So in the African Cup, they're in League One, aren't they?
Just like Bristol City.
They're in Group A, I think. Let me just check. So Ivory Coast currently sitting 3rd. If they lose or draw, they could be out. So I might actually watch that. I'll tell you what, I've tried to watch some of the AFCON, man. It's shocking football.
It's been hard, hasn't it?
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
As well, man.
Now, just shocking as well.
Yeah, and they can't even get the commentary right, can they? Okay, the last thing I just want to point out, a lot of you are asking about when the AFCON does finish. Its finishing date is the 11th of Feb, which is the day after we play Newcastle. Our next game after the AFCON is against West Ham at the City Ground. That'll be the 17th. So potentially we should actually have more players back before the 11th. That's obviously if the team makes it to the final with a couple of our players. So hopefully they get knocked out earlier. But by West Ham, we should have all our players, and also Taiwo will be back and fit as there. And as Emma says, still over 300 of you in here. Get those likes up, guys. Get those likes up. So West Ham's going to be a huge game, but at the same time, they'll get kudos back as well. So it's like you giveth and you getteth, don't you?
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see.
Am I the only one whose excitement about Taiwo coming back is sort of tempted by my fear that he's just going to get injured again? Because it just feels like he just gets injured, you know?
No, I'm hoping this has dealt with the underlying issue, because he's been back and forth, hasn't he? And we've said there's an underlying
surgery, didn't he?
Hasn't been addressed.
He's had surgery. He's had
surgery. So I'm hoping that's dealt with the underlying issue.
Has it all been the same? Has it all been the same injury as?
Yeah, I think so.
Like groin.
Yeah.
Yes, the groin. Yeah, because that's what he came off against Southampton with. I think so. Hopefully, that's what's been causing him to keep having those reoccurrences.
I don't worry about it though. Like I know, like Emma's saying she's worried about. The reason I don't worry about it is because of, if you guys remember when I did that interview with Dave from Always Wolves. No, not because of Chris Wood. Is he said that Nuno will not play a player until he's 100% fit, and they very rarely get injured under him, and hence why he can have a tight squad. So I think Taiwo has been rushed back into the starting team under Cooper's regime quite a few times.
No doubt about it.
And he was playing injured before he actually tore his groin and had to have the surgery anyway. And I think from Taiwo's point of view, he was also trying to just string out doing the surgery to get into the AFCON, and he wasn't able to do it when he went off injured. I can't remember what game it was. So I'm not worried about it. He's a unit, man. I mean, me and Ez, we met him, and he's chiseled, man.
Surgery doesn't always fix these problems, you know, by the way. There's no guarantee it will fix them.
People
think if they've had surgery, that's it. You're okay. It's not, no guarantee.
Yeah,
but
I know,
it's better.
Recovery.
Look at Dean Henderson. He was injured again after he had his surgery, wasn't
he? Yeah,
but he might not be match fit either when he comes back.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think Taiwo will be on the bench for Bournemouth maybe play a half or come on as a halftime sub against Newcastle. And then I think we're going to see, I think West Ham's going to be a huge game. I think West Ham, we're going to see a lot of our players back. And boy, will we tonk them if we've got a full available team there. But by that stage, we would have played Arsenal, Bournemouth, Newcastle. So I think that's where the season needs to turn around. Then it gets harder. We've got Villa, Liverpool, Brighton. Then we've got crappy Luton, Palace, Fulham.
Let's not worry about that.
Let's not go down there. In fact, let's wrap it up there. We've gone on for
before you do, can I just say you made a really, really important point that Dave said, that during his time at Wolves, for like the first 2.5 years, Wolves hardly had any injuries at all because Nuno was so careful with his players. He said as soon as Nuno left and the new guy came in, they were just blighted with injuries. And I think that for our club and the way we are with injuries, like a lot of others, that's a massive positive if that's the case.
And that was his medical team. He had like a top-notch medical team on there as well. All right, we'll wrap it up there. We're back tomorrow to tell you guys all about the Mangala updates and a couple of other transfers. So keep an eye out for that. It might be in the morning. It might be early afternoon. I can't remember what the scheduling says. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Hopefully we've been able to get rid of the anger about the cheat. And I'm feeling quite positive ending this stream.
Yeah.
Well, things are looking like I'm getting excited talking about. I can't wait to see this team finally put together on the pitch. So thank you all for tuning in. As always, like and subscribe if you're listening on the podcast. Give it a 5-star review, and we will see you tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.
You Reds.